Yeah, get the sandwich, sit down. All right, for those that weren't here last week, this is kind of loud. Can you turn it down just a bit? How's that? That sounds better? Yeah, okay. All right, for those that weren't here last week, we're beginning a study on the different temperaments so that we can better learn ourselves and we can learn others also. As a church, one of the things that we have to do is become one. Like we said, our differences make us one in Christ, and that's why I titled the class that way. You have Paul teaching people in his letters about getting along and things. We quoted from Philippians chapter 4 where those two ladies weren't getting along, and Paul obviously doesn't take a side on it, but says to the person he calls true companion, get with these two ladies and, work it out. People are different. People have differences, and sometimes it's difficult to resolve differences. One of the reasons may be because as Paul has pointed out, we are a body, and we're all different parts of the body. I don't know if you've ever thought about it this way much, but what are you? Are you a hand, a foot, an eye, an ear? When Paul made the references to people being like different parts of the body, you have to really consider it, that he was talking about people with totally different abilities, different temperaments. And some people may think they're better than others. Don't say cholerics. But you have to realize that no one is better than the other. We're all different. No two people here are the same, have the same exact temperaments. Everybody's different a little bit. And we have to learn to get along. And the best way to do that, in my belief, is we have to understand who we are, what makes us tick. We're going to look at emotional needs for the different types, what energizes different types, things that are attractive to the different types, positives, negatives. Every one of these traits has positives and every one has negatives. And we looked at this chart last week. We'll just look at it briefly each week just so you can kind of look at it again. And we talked about the four different temperaments that we're going to cover. First one, which we're going to talk about tonight, is sanguine. It's called the popular sanguine, socializer, someone who is, and the reason why we're looking at the sanguine first is because sanguines, most of the time, are the easiest ones to spot. If you know the different temperaments, you can identify a lot of the temperaments. And most people, once you get to know them, you can kind of identify them just by the way that they are, the way they act, what they say, what they do. And sanguine is one of the easier ones. And choleric is another one that's kind of easy, I think. And those two on the top are extroverted. And what I mean by extroverted is they have a wide view of things. They are focused on externals. They want lots of friends. They have lots of interests. They want to do different things. An introvert, which would be the phlegmatic and the melancholy, are more inward focused. If you want a good idea of a melancholy person, you would see someone has few friends, but they're better friends. They have fewer interests, but they're deeper interests. They are really thoughtful. They won't blurt things out like an extrovert will. They'll think about things. They're the ones that will rehearse a phone call. Anybody here ever rehearsed a phone call before you made a phone call? If you did, you're probably an introvert. And I know you are. But extroverts can pick up the phone, talk to anybody about anything. It doesn't matter, and the conversation goes on. So that's why we're going to go over sanguine and choleric first, the extroverts, and then we're going to go over the melancholies and phlegmatics secondly. But briefly, the sanguine is the popular person, fun-loving, energetic, things like that. Cholerics are people that are generally considered your leaders. They're the ones who are goal-driven. They're not